This matter with the Cubans and the nurses should tell us everything that we need to know.
Hi, guys, and welcome back to the Caribbean Spot. Today, we need to talk about something big, major, that's shaking up the Caribbean. Barbados Prime Minister Mia Mottley has just made a bold statement, one that not only calls out US interference, but also challenges Caribbean leaders to stand up and take care of their own people. She's taken a stand for Cuba, for justice, and for the right of Caribbean nations to decide what's best for their people, without bullying from foreign powers like the United States. Now, I want you to listen carefully to what she said, because when you hear her words, you'll realize this is bigger than just Barbados or Cuban doctors. This is a wake-up call for the entire Caribbean region. So let's take a listen to what Prime Minister Mia Mottley had to say, and I'll come back with my commentary. Stay tuned.
This matter with the Cubans and the nurses should tell us everything that we need to know. Barbados does not currently have Cuban medical staff or Cuban nurses, but I will be the first to go to the line and to tell you that we could not get through the pandemic without the Cuban nurses and the Cuban doctors. I will also be the first to tell you that we paid them the same thing that we paid Bajans, and that the notion, as was peddled not just by this government in the US, but the previous government, that we were involved in human trafficking by engaging with the Cuban nurses, was fully repudiated and rejected by us. Now, I don't believe that we have to shout across the seas, but I am prepared, like others in this region, that if we cannot reach a sensible agreement on this matter, then if the cost of it is the loss of my visa to the US, then so be it. But what matters to us is principles. And I have said over and over that principles only mean something when it is inconvenient to stand by it. Now, we don't have to shout, but we can be resolute. And I therefore look forward to standing with my CARICOM brothers. I wish I could say brothers and sisters, but brothers, to be able to ensure that we explain that what the Cubans have been able to do for us, far from approximating itself to human trafficking, has been to save lives and limbs and sight for many a Caribbean person.
Hold on. Did you guys hear that? Prime Minister Mottley didn't stutter. She made it plain. She said, I would also be the first to tell you that we paid them, the Cuban workers, the same pay we pay Barbadians. And that the notion, as was peddled not just by this current US administration, but by the previous government, that we were involved in human trafficking by engaging with Cuban nurses, was fully repudiated and rejected by us. Barbados paid Cuban medical staff exactly what they pay their own people, and they fully reject any attempt to label that partnership as exploitation. This is not just about explaining a decision. This is about standing up for dignity and fairness, and the right of Barbados to choose what's best for its people. It's about showing the world that as a sovereign nation, Barbados will not be bullied, and that every worker, local or foreign, deserves respect. But she didn't stop there. Listen again to what she said. And I quote, I don't believe we have to shout across the seas, but I'm prepared, like others in this region, that if we cannot reach a sensible agreement on this matter, then If the cost of it is the loss of my visa to the United States, then so be it. But what matters to us is principles. Family, this is leadership. This is the stance all Caribbean leaders elected to serve the people should take. To put their people and their region first, no matter the cost. But here's what we cannot ignore. Barbados is moving forward to take care of their own. They're building, training, and investing in their own people. And that's the example we need to follow. Caribbean leaders, if you are serious about self-reliance and self-sufficiency, it starts with investing in your human resources. It starts with training our workforce, not just small craft or trade programs, but by fully developing and educating our people in critical areas like medicine, healthcare, engineering, and education. Because if Barbados, a small island like all of ours, could boldly say, we will stand on our own, what's stopping the rest of us? What's stopping us from training our own doctors, building our own healthcare systems, keeping our skilled professionals at home? What's stopping us from creating the institutions and systems that serve our people and reflect our values instead of always waiting for outside help? If Barbados can make that commitment, then so can Jamaica, Trinidad, St.Vincent, Grenada, Antigua, Dominica, all of us. Because self-reliance isn't just a dream, it's a decision. A decision to put the future of our nations into our own hands, to empower our people, to be the ones who heal, build, and lead our countries forward. And Caribbean leaders, we need to use Barbados as an example, our blueprint, for how to do what is best for our countries. I recall a few years ago while in Barbados, my friend's cousin fell sick on our trip. And as we searched for care right in the same neighborhood where we stayed, we found a Barbadian doctor, a man sitting on the veranda of his own practice, casually greeting patients as they came in. My friend and her cousin went inside, and I sat outside waiting in the veranda area. But in my mind, I was hoping he would get up and attend to my friend's cousin. But then he said something I didn't expect. He said, "Oh no, I no longer practice." That's after engaging in a conversation with him, right? Assuming he was a doctor. He said, "I'm retired. My daughter is running the family practice now." That speaks volume. He's a doctor. His daughter's a doctor. This is generations of doctors right there in Barbados, right? He continued chatting with us. My friend came back. She sat with us and he's having a conversation. And he asked us where we were from and we're sharing stories. And then he looked at us and he said something really profound that stuck with me. And this is over 17 years, right? He said, "I like your prime minister. We all love him here in Barbados. But one thing he does not do is invest in his human resources." And he proudly stated that this is what Barbados does. To me, many Caribbean nations see an educated and highly skilled workforce as a threat and not as an asset. Here, we need a mindset shift. So I'm urging all Caribbean leaders, take a page out of the books of PM Mottley and the other Bajan prime ministers who ensured that they invested in their workforce, and not just those who voted for them, and the high man and the high woman in society's daughter and son, everybody getting an education. This is why today Barbados can proudly say they do not have any Cuban medical workers. That's the kind of leadership and vision we need in the Caribbean. A leader who invests in their people and builds a system that takes care of its own. Right there is a leader, and a great one indeed is Mia Mottley. Caribbean leaders, the time for talking about self-reliance is over. The time for action is now. If we don't invest in our people, if we don't empower our own people, who will? Because at the end of the day, nobody is coming to save us. It's time to save ourselves. How would you explain this to the next generation? That while hospitals stand, there are no doctors to run them because you fail to invest in your own people and to keep your best minds at home. And this is where Barbados will continue whipping most of the Caribbean islands. Their best minds are at home in Barbados, building that nation. Enough is enough. We cannot keep outsourcing our survival. We cannot keep begging for doctors while our young people rot without opportunity. It is time to build, to train, and to invest in our own. Let me say this clearly. History, Caribbean leaders, will judge you either as builders of a Caribbean future or as leaders who sold out your own people's right to dignity and care. So let's be bold like Barbados. Let's rise and let's build for ourselves, for our children, and for our Caribbean future. The time is now. Okay guys, that's all for this video. If you found value in this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, share it with someone who needs to hear this message, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you never miss when we upload a video speaking truth to power right here on the Caribbean Spot. And don't forget, drop a comment below and let me know, do you think other Caribbean leaders should follow Mia Mottley's example? Let's talk about it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.